So you're the first two-time guest on this podcast. That's gotta rank up there with some of those rings, right?
Well, it's either that or you just don't have very many friends.
Well, well, crap. It's I don't have many friends.
Yeah. Well, you just need a small circle.
Small circle. That's all we need. So I was doing one of these earlier. I was talking to another coach who had his team won one of their 7-on-7s. I know y'all are just coming off of y'all won one at was it UAB? Is that where y'all were?
Yeah. Yeah.
How how'd that work? Who all do you play, and what goes into a 7-on-7 tournament?
Uh well you got a pool play that you do, first, and I think we finished 2-1 in that. We lost to Moody by either 1 or 2 points. I can't remember. Close game. I think they got about 8 plays inside the 10. We got one referee out there, which they were penalties, but um, some of those things are not refereed very well. They got some GAs out there calling stuff, and
Sure.
it's competitive and all that. But um, we played them in Russell County, and then I can't remember the other team we played. And then we got into the tournament, and I don't know, just played well. Trying to think who all we played. Honestly, I can't remember now. We've done three of them, so they're called the teams are kind of running together.
Yeesh.
Well, we ended up beating Thompson in the finals that night. So it was a long day. Um, and they're fun, but I'm not. I like it for the competition, but it's a lot of it's unrealistic. Um, certain teams you play, they are geared towards 7-on-7, and it's like they have a whole separate offense and defense from 7-on-7,
Mm.
and that they use play like they'll run the running back right through the where the lineman would be, so that's what I mean by not realistic.
Yeah.
And I try to steer clear of that and just run simply what we run on offense and what we run on defense. So I think your kids get comfortable doing that. But it's fun. It's good competition, but it's not, I used to like it a lot better when I was, younger, but now the older I get, it's just freaking hot. And I don't know, it's just a long day.
Yeah, that's what Coach Williams at Woodlawn said. I was like, "What do you?" If they won theirs at Samford, and I was like, "What do you pull from something like that? Since it's not pads, it's 7-on-7, it's just skill guy type things. Like, what do you pull from that?" And he was just like, "It's just competition. It's just getting the juices flowing and just feeling that competition." But
Yeah.
yeah. How was the spring game at Opelika? It's been a bit since we talked, so how'd that go?
Yeah. It was okay. I mean, I don't think we performed as well as we would like to have on offense for sure. I mean, that was not good. We lost our center probably 2 days before the game. So had some issues there, and had a kid play center that really had never played center. Up until 2 days before the game, so that the snaps were an issue, and they were really good. They got 38 seniors coming back on their team.
Yeah,
And so that, and I knew that going into the game. I just wanted to see a front, front seven that, is like a Parker, like, whatever, the best
yeah,
teams you're going to see. And so they got, D line was massive, and they were good. And we made some mistakes, penalties, bad snaps. And then we kind of got going toward the end of that half on offense a little bit. Had a good drive put together. Defensively, I thought they played pretty well. I mean, as well as they could have. Um, they held them to really to 10 points, and I would say seven of those was we had a tip ball intercepted on the two, and I think they
mm,
scored on maybe fourth down.
oh wow, yeah,
Um, so, some good things and some bad things. But I think the biggest thing I saw was that offensively, like we can't really be exactly like we were last year, maybe
Oh,
personnel wise.
yeah,
And so just trying to like, all right, what do we have personnel wise, and how can we build this offense around what we do have? I think that was um, kind of what I got from it after the game, which is good. So it's
yeah,
kind of gotten, a lot of the creative juices flowing in me um, after the game, up until this point. So that's kind of what we've been working on throughout the summer, as a team. Is just, what are we good at? What can we be good at? And which direction does it need to go? I mean, I think, a lot of people get
yeah,
stuck. Um, and like this is what we run every year, and I don't really do that.
right.
Just I can't do that. So I've always been able to, you know, come up with different ways of running the offense, based on what we have.
Yeah. What was it like being kind of first time on the field as head coach? Did it feel any different?
No, no. I mean, obviously I've never really called plays from the field before.
Right.
In a game situation, but it's really not a lot different from practice situations if you're scripting practice like you're supposed to, and you do your game script like you're supposed to, then you really it's really not any different. The only difference really for me is like I don't really have time in between series to really just look at what's going on film, and maybe kind of go through the call sheet of what have I called, what have I not called, things you don't have it laid out in front of you on a table,
Right.
with my Snickers and my drink in front of me. So that's different, but it's really not that. I try to treat a lot of practices like their game situations, and so I call it a lot like that in practice. So it's really not that much different.
Yeah. Did you learn anything about your team, about any individual guys either side of the ball, like maybe that you didn't know going in, like maybe a guy that outperformed what you thought he could do, a guy who stepped up, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say during the game, but just obviously when our center went down, we had to move some people around, shuffle some people around, and our left tackle, he was out the whole spring, so he wasn't in. So we really didn't have any linemen that had ever played, varsity. One of them had, but he came from another school. But nobody had played at Clay-Chalkville really a meaningful down. And so
Wow.
that takes a while to kind of gel together.
Yeah.
Um, and defensively, like we kind of knew where a weak spot may be. And then, but we had a kid that was injured that would be coming back. And so we've kind of shuffled around, some people. So I think we're, probably better fit, in that area now than we were in that game. So, and we lost one of our corners in a 7-on-7 game. He jumped up to catch a ball and tore his ACL, just a freak
Man.
non-contact injury. But we had another kid come in and he's played really, really well all summer. So uh, don't know that he really would have got those chances that he has. If that kid hadn't have gotten injured, but
Sure.
just things like that.
Yeah. I meant to ask you this at the outset, but I'll ask it now because I haven't had you on here. I think when we did one of these, it was like April or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, how you like that ring? Is it as big as it looks?
yeah, yeah. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, Justin Burdett sent me some pictures.
Yeah, I got it right here. Let me
Grab
grab
it.
it.
Grab that thing.
Let's see.
You got to show that off.
Yeah, so this is it right here. I don't know if
Good
you can see
lord.
it.
Oh yeah. Pull over that way a little bit.
Let me
Right
go
there.
this way. Yeah,
That's perfect. My
yeah.
gosh. How much does that thing weigh?
I don't know. It's massive. But what what's funny what's funny is that the one on the right, this one right here on my
Yeah.
right, is the one from 14, and you can tell just how big that other one is.
look how far we've come.
Yeah, I thought this thing was massive when we first got it, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and
that's
I'm
insane.
embarrassed to show you the one from '99. That thing looks like a clap. It looks like something you get out of a gumball machine. Seriously.
That's like the ring that a guy proposes with, and the girl says no just because she sees the ring. That kind of deal.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yikes.
but they're fun to look at.
Yeah, yeah, they're fun to show off. I'll probably use, I've been using little screen grabs from these as like the YouTube thumbnail,
Yeah,
for each.
yeah,
I'll probably use that right there with the
yeah.
showing the rings.
That'd be
That'll be
cool.
that'll be fun. Well, last
Yeah,
time we did this, we talked a lot of new head coach stuff, so we've done that. We talked our usual golf stuff. I'm gonna let it go. The hat you're wearing, I'm gonna
yeah.
let that go. It looks good, um, but I'm just gonna let that one go. And
Okay.
we'll talk about let's talk about the schedule. Let's really talk ball here. So I'm gonna start off. I've got the schedule over here. Um, let's start non-region this year. So open August 23rd against Hueytown.
Yeah,
That's in your place.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The next week at Ramsey. Where y'all playing that game? Is that at Legion?
That's at Legion Field.
At Legion Field. At Thompson on September 27th. We've gotten accustomed to that game. And then at Vestavia Hills on November 1st to round out the regular season. That's that's pretty stout, I would say.
Yeah, it's not easy, I wouldn't say at all. It's pretty rough, actually.
Yeah, yeah. How those like I know the Thompson game, but like and some of this I guess the schedule really kind of predates you getting the job, but like
Yeah.
what goes into forming those, coming up those non-region games. These four specifically, like were you involved when Drew was still there in making these at all?
Yeah, a little bit. The Hueytown thing, I mean, I think that, we played them the last 2 years.
Yeah,
So that was kind of a, hey, are we still going to play? And so that was easy. And then the only one I really helped with was the Ramsey game. Um, and so just reached out to them, see if they'd be interested in playing because we did an OTA with them last summer, and so that was there's a lot of good athletes on the field at the same time. So I think Drew had kind of organized that Vestavia thing before he left. Um, so it's well, a lot of schools don't go through this, but when you kind of get to like a certain level in your classification, there really isn't like a lot of people just signing up to play you.
right.
And so really you've got, pretty much, the elite teams maybe in their classification, you
Yeah,
know, like Ramsey 5A or an elite 6A team or, a deep playoff team, somebody like that. And then
sure.
maybe some 7A teams, but most people when they're scheduling non-region games, a lot of them are looking for wins is what they're looking
Yeah,
for, which I
yeah,
get it. But at the same time, I think because I was there, I was Mormon Jordan, I did the same thing, just
yeah,
and that schedule this past year for them helped out a lot. Um, so I mean, it just depends on what school you're at, and what situation you're in. But where I'm at, it just you got to play hard teams. You just do because
yeah.
nobody really wants to. Nobody, if they don't think they can beat you, then they're not probably signing up for it.
That's
So
it.
I think most every team that agrees to play us thinks maybe we got a shot. So, and I'm good with that. I mean, I respect that. But
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like the different styles. I look at styles over really anything because a Thompson, you're not going to play really anybody, top to bottom, maybe like them.
Right.
A championship caliber team is going to be like Thompson. So, you take a Hueytown, a Ramsey, they're going to be like a Parker, esque
Yeah,
team as far as athletically. And then you've got Vestavia, who's going to be like a Mountain Brook, somewhere like an Oxford, maybe somebody like that And so really, our Muscle Shoals, I mean, those are the teams you got to beat if you want to make a deep run. So I think just having those teams on your schedule, the different styles they play offensively and defensively, they help in the long run.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting. So let's talk about the region schedule. So y'all are back 6A Region 6 again. I'm going to go through these alphabetically. You guys, Clay-Chalkville, Huffman, Mountain Brook now, Oxford, Pell City, Pinson Valley, Shades Valley. So not much change, but Mountain Brook comes into the region this year, right? Is that the only change that Mountain Brook comes
Yeah,
in?
yeah. So we lose Center Point and game Mountain Brook, which is, that's a hard, you know, that's a, I mean, no disrespect to Center Point, but that's a tough swap.
Yeah,
Um,
no, it really is.
but I guess the good thing is like, you play them in the regular season. Really, the only time you would see them again would be, I guess maybe in the semifinals, maybe. If my math is
Okay.
correct. I think a region to region matchup would be in the semifinals. So
Yeah,
you're gonna have to beat them. You know, you're gonna have to beat them at some point. So
yeah,
you can't be ducking and dodging people. But it's a good and that Mountain Brook game will help us against Vestavia as well because they're very
yeah,
similar similar people, similar styles. So it'll be good.
yeah. No, and y'all got what, 6 road games, 4 home
Four,
games?
yeah. Yeah, so this will be the first time in probably since 21, maybe, that they've had 10 games,
Yeah,
I think, because I mean, 22 and 23, they had nine.
right.
And so, last year we were off week 10.
Hmm.
And, I think Drew knew he was leaving and just stuck me with Vestavia, is what he did.
Would you rather, like, if you were make like if you had to pick, like, these schedules are hard to make. You've already kind of said that, especially trying to get games and trying to get people to play you no matter the week, just to play you at all. Would you rather have that November 1st to rest and heal up, or does it matter to you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it depends on the season you've had, and you're not
Yeah,
going to know. You're not going to know, going into it, if you're a team that's got a lot of injuries, and sure, you would love to have a little time to get rested, but sometimes people, kids can get a little rusty over a 2 week period of being off, and
yeah,
maybe you got a tough matchup round one that, I don't know. I mean, Coach Hood, when I was with him, he always enjoyed playing the tough contest
mhm,
in week 10. So I mean, I think there's pros and cons to both.
yeah,
You know, I well, I know we had a couple of week 10 games that were pretty tough games, physical games, and it was more of a mental thing with our kids of just kind of
yeah,
see where you're at from a physicality standpoint going into the playoffs. So as long as you can keep everybody, free from injury, then I think it's good. But I think it's a year to year thing.
yeah. Well, you've got at Vestavia, and I would assume that Vestavia's coming to Clay next year. Then is it a 2-year thing?
I hope so.
Hope so. Gotcha.
A lot of these
Gotcha.
things are verbal things. They're not,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
a
we'll come
lot.
over there.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless,
yeah. I mean, I surely, I mean, I know Robert, he's a good guy, and, you know,
yeah.
surely.
Well, he wanted to make sure. I know he wanted to make sure y'all were keeping this game this year, so make sure he keeps it next year.
Yeah, yeah,
There you go. Who are some
yeah.
guys that are, y'all lost a lot, you know, Jalen now at Alabama, Mario out in Mississippi, Big Shaq at Oregon, like, that all these guys that were major contributors. Who are some guys that are filling roles and, trying to get better in their roles?
Yeah, I think, offensively, obviously the quarterback's the big one that everybody sees glaringly. And
Sure.
and so Aaron Fry, is going to be the guy. and he's still, he's still got a ways to go. He just hasn't played a lot of snaps in a varsity situation. So I think there's going to be some growing pains, early in the season, in which that's something I have to remember. But I think he has, our big challenge to him is for him to grow, as becoming, the quarterback. You gotta be the voice of the team a little bit, and just getting comfortable in that role. He's got the talent. The talent's not the issue. It's just, the voice and the presence and being the director on the field and
Yeah,
all those things. And then he's got to listen to me yell at him, half the time. And it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure and a lot of, eyes on him, but I think he'll be fine. I think we'll be able to do some things maybe with the ball that, Jalen couldn't do or didn't do as well, I should say. And so we'll be a little different in that aspect. But I mean, I think he runs the ball. He's not as fast as Jalen, but not many people in the world are. So, um, but he's a 4 or 5 kid, so he can go. And so, I think he's done really well, but he's, got a way to go. And then you got, the kind of the breakout guy, I think for us, obviously, is going to be Corey Barber. I think
yeah,
that receiver, he's really, really grown and matured over the last 6, 7, 8 months. And he's playing. He'll be a junior, so he's got 2 more years, but just that number one guy, and then you've got Marlon Compton and Jabari
yeah.
Staples and Kumar. They're all back, and so they got a lot of experience, and they've kind of got they're good at their own skill set. And so I don't really worry about people like, oh, let's take him away, and well, because you still got to deal with the other people too. And so
Yeah.
I don't really feel deficient anywhere. Um, and then we've got 3 or 4 running backs. And we're kind of running back heavy this year. And so that's kind of the deal is like, how do I get all these people on the field at one time? And
Yeah.
how do we cater this offense to them, for these skill guys, because they all want to be involved. And so that's kind of that's the hard part, for me, is designing ways to get people on the ball and get people touches.
Are all the running backs like? Are they all newer guys? Like.
Well, you got Aaron Osley back.
Oh,
He's
he's back.
back.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah, he's back from last year. Um, you've
because
got um you got Joshua. So Joshua Woods transferred over maybe in March or I don't know when he came, honestly. Transferred from Penson. And so he'll definitely be a big contributor as well. And then we have a kid, Isaiah Miles, who he'll be a junior as well. That's done pretty good. And then we got a little bitty like Barry Sanders type kid, like his name's Aaron Robinson. So we got some backs. So we'll see. We'll see.
how
The,
about
the
the? Go ahead.
I would say the big question mark obviously for us is O line.
Yeah.
Just we're young in some spots and we're young as far as experience. And so just getting them to gel together and I got to do some things schematically maybe to help them out as well. I can't just sit there and call power every play, like I could do that last year with that group, and it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
Um, but you got to be a little bit more creative this year to kind of help them out and not just, do straight drop back pass every time or run, run, run. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you got to kind of mix it up and be creative about what you do, to kind of alleviate some pressure off of them.
Yeah. How about the other side of the ball? Now, I mean, you're the head coach. You got to talk about the defense too. Who are some
Yeah.
guys? Who are some
Well,
guys over there?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, just I like. I don't know that I've. Well, I shouldn't say that because I would say I really like the style of we got a great defense. Let the offense kind of feed off the defense. um,
Yeah.
instead of a, we got a prolific offense and we got a bend but don't break defense.
Yeah.
I think more times than not, if you've got a really, really good defense, I feel like we're good enough that we can put something together and score some points on you. But at some point, offensively, you may struggle a game,
Yeah.
and that's when you got to have your defense to play really well.
That's right.
Like last year, we didn't play well offensively against Hueytown at all. I'd say Mountain Brook was a pretty big struggle. It was a 17-14 game.
Yeah.
And so you gotta, and our defense gave up 17 points total in both those games combined. And so I like playing off of the defense. If they can stop people and get three and outs, I feel eventually at some point we're going to score, some points. Um,
Yeah.
and so man, the whole D line pretty much is back from last year. And then you've got Colton McIntyre, who will be the
So,
nose this year. He was a freshman last year, so nobody really saw him. He'll be a name really quickly that everybody knows about. He's a problem. He's a problem for me at practice every day, and a lot of stuff gets disrupted because of him. And he also frees up some of those other guys on the D line.
yeah.
So you got Junior Cole and Patrick Smith. Those are really the two that are back. Played a lot of football, and they're both good players. But and then Colton kind of, he can occupy several people at one time to free those linebackers up. And
Yeah.
so, in the box, you got some younger guy like Isaiah Brown. He'll be a sophomore. And then TK Slaughter, he'll be a junior in the box. And so,
Right.
as long as we can keep people off of them, they can tackle. Um,
Wow.
and so, but we got Nakarius Allen, which I think he's probably one of our more versatile players.
Yeah.
He's a outside backer, kind of walk up guy. He's probably honestly he's probably an SEC caliber type player. Um, and so athletic. I mean, he's super athletic. Got an incredible motor. A little wild at times, so you gotta rein him in at times. But man, he can go, and he will be a nightmare for people to block. So, um, and secondary wise, you got Jacarlos Hunter, who
Mm.
he came from Penson as well. Um, and then you've got Xavier Starks, who's got several
That's right.
SEC offers. And then Deion Callens is got several offers playing corner. And then we got Christian Black, and then Keelan Stewart was the other DB. And so they've done well. And there's some other people. We've got some. I'd say probably 14 to 15 guys that kind of mix in there. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But I think that we're gonna kind of use them as kind of our strong suit, and then offensively play off of them honestly, because I see them every day, and they're um, very aggressive, and do a lot, in the front that can get you in bad situations. So we'll see.
Yeah. Having said all that and run through the schedule, how are you feeling? We're a month and a half out right now as of recording this from kickoff. How are you kind of feeling just generally overall about the season? Are you optimistic? Are what's the feel there?
Yeah, I don't really ever know what to think or feel. I mean, if you ask me, I mean, you could ask me every week, and I think everybody's got a chance to beat us somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, I have never in my career looked past anybody. I've never
Mm.
game planned ahead for anybody. I don't have it in me. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I got a one track mind, and it's just a week to week thing. Um, and so I don't know. I mean, I would say, you know, if our offensive line can kind of get it together, and snaps are good and we're all going the right direction, we got a chance. And so I think we should be good. Um, the biggest thing for us, I think, in what I'm trying to get through to our kids right now is like, a lot of people put a target on our back because of past success,
Yeah.
and at times that can kind of make you play defensively. Like, oh,
Mhm.
everybody's after us and we're getting everybody's
Yeah.
best shot. But at the same time, it's like, why wouldn't you go out and give everybody your best shot,
Yeah.
and put targets on their back? And so, kind of our theme for the year is just to hunt, because you're either being hunted or you are hunting, one or the other, and that's kind of our theme for the year is just to go out and hunt. I told them several weeks ago, like, you know, yeah, yeah, you're the defending champion, but you're not really like
Yeah.
that new trophy, the 2024 trophy is in Montgomery. It's being made in Montgomery. It's not they're not coming to get it out of my office and give it to somebody else. And so don't worry about 2023. That's over and
That's right.
done. And that was a great year. But man, there's another trophy at stake, and I want it just as bad as anybody else. And so I think we've got to, take on that mentality of just attacking everything that we do and be super aggressive and physical and just go after people, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, what are you? I've been asking every coach this, but what are you looking forward to most about this season in particular?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, I love, especially, I'll just say offensively, I like when it's got to change and you got to do something different, something outside
Mhm.
your comfort zone and something outside the box, maybe. Because I think it kind of puts your back against the wall and you've got to perform and execute and be really good at what you're doing. So I get excited about new years where you're doing new things that you really hadn't shown before, done before, that are
Yeah.
maybe a little unorthodox, um, and just to see how all that plays out. And just because I don't ever really know, till we get into the season. When you start seeing live bullets, it's like it can change, and it can change,
Yeah.
week to week, and about the middle of the season, you're like, all right, these are kind of the things that we're doing well, and then all right, let's go this direction with it, and so
Yeah.
um and I don't map this out per se on a piece of paper, but
Right.
it's kind of a week to week deal where you kind of introduce maybe a couple formations, a couple wrinkles, and then the next week you kind of build off that package, and then you introduce new formations and maybe some new wrinkles, and it kind of you kind of you don't show all your cards in one game. You don't
Right.
show them. It's something you've kind of got to build throughout the season, and then once you get to the playoffs, then you kind of narrow it down to, hey, this is who we are. It doesn't really matter, what you've seen or what you think that we are, because when you watch 10 weeks of film, it's kind of hard to figure out, like, this is really what they're good at and this is who they are,
Mm.
unless you're really, really good at that,
Yeah.
at kind of, doing all the analytical stuff. But I think once you get into playoff time, like, who you are, what you're good at. And a lot of that depends on like the film that you get from other people. So
Yeah.
for instance,
Right.
like, case in point, when we played Thompson, like, they had played a few teams and everybody runs like kind of the basic formations, but then they played Vestavia, where Vestavia
Yeah.
got in some formations that a lot of people don't get into. And
Hmm.
so when I see those things, it kind of that's where I get ideas from, and then I take maybe stuff they were trying to do, and then I add on to it or create something new out of it. And
Right.
so a lot of times it's who we're playing, who have they played that runs things that I like or things I'm interested in, or things that I think put them in a bind, that we could maybe expose them on a little
Hmm.
further. So it
Yeah.
I always struggle. I really always struggle in the beginning of the year when I don't really have a lot of film to go off of,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of you're kind of guessing like, hey, they might play this formation like this, but you don't really know. But
Yeah.
But as the season rolls along and you start to figure out, these are how they play formations, these are how they adjust the motions and shifts and that kind of thing, then the game plan starts to tighten up a little bit.
Yeah. Interesting. That's yeah. You really broke that down. That's
I don't know. I
cool.
mean, that's just how I do it. I don't know how everybody else
Yeah.
does it, but
No, it's interesting to hear.
yeah.
Let's. All right. I can't go without. All right. Who's winning the Open Championship? We got to. It's me and you. We have to sneak in a little bit of golf. I'm looking at the odds right now. Do you need some
What?
odds?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. This is, I guess, as of today. Scotty Scheffler's 5-1. Rory McIlroy 13-2. Bryson's 11-1. Xander's 14-1. So is Ludwig. Victor Hovland and Morikawa are 16-1. Any of these guys? I'm sure one of those is standing out.
I mean, I like Bryson, honestly. Um,
Uh,
where his game's at. Um, I I don't know. So I watched John Rahm a little bit at the tournament.
yeah.
Um, and he actually played well at that tournament.
The one up in
Uh,
Nashville?
yeah, he played pretty
Okay.
well. I don't know. They're at Royal Troon, isn't that right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
John Rahm is 24-1.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say like right now, I would probably say Bryson, just because of how far he hits the ball, and I think he's more than just a big, driver guy. I think he's got a lot of
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
and putts and can putt pretty well. If I had to put money on it, I would probably say him, and then I would maybe even go with Ludwig. I think
He's unbelievable.
yeah, I think he's due for one. Don't know about. I mean, obviously, Scotty's going to, be in the mix, but definitely not Rory. I don't know that Rory will ever win again. I'm just,
Man.
I'm
He
just
was gonna
saying.
he's gonna be my pick again. You know my
Well,
affinity for
you're gonna,
Rory
you
McIlroy.
well,
Do you know how
You must be a Braves fan because you deal with disappointment a lot.
you know I am?
Yeah, yeah, as well as I am. So I mean, I'm just used to disappointing things, but
Uh,
I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be
yeah.
interesting.
Like if I wasn't going Rory because I don't know, I just like to pick the guy and like I really want it to happen. I'm looking at these odds and stuff in some of these guys and like I don't know, maybe I don't want to pick Cam Smith. I don't yeah. But he's 31-1. That seems kind of crazy. Uh I wouldn't want him to win because he's just not my favorite personality.
Cam
But
Smith.
well, not him, but this other guy has the same odds. Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah, I don't like him.
I don't like him, but I think he might be a guy to watch.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about Royal Troon. I mean,
I don't either.
I know they've played there before, but
Can Hayden Moore get us out there doing his golf tour stuff?
probably
Let's hit up Hayden and see if he can get us out there.
not cheap though.
No, no.
Not cheap at all.
It'd be fun. It would certainly be fun. But
Oh, ain't no doubt.
well, just tell him you were his coach, and
Oh, he
if he's
invited me to go on one of those trips, and then he showed me how much it was, and I was like, well,
oh
probably going
my
to talk to my wife
gosh,
about that one. That's more like a retirement gift, I'm pretty sure.
wow, wow, jeez, man, he must be living right doing that job though.
Well, that's his father-in-law. He does
He does the
all the trips to Ireland. That's like what he
yeah,
does. He's like a travel agent for golf
yeah,
excursions. So
yeah.
it's pretty cool.
That's fun.
He
That's
married
fun.
well, that is for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's put a bow on this one. I'm sure we'll talk again. But
Hey, and
hey, two time.
congratulations on your top podcast award. I saw that.
Oh yeah, me and Kyle somehow
You and Kyle. How about that?
we run our mouths a little bit week to week during the year, and apparently, somebody liked what they heard. I guess
Yeah. That's what I saw. So,
we'll try.
congratulations.
Thank you. We'll try to do it again this year, and win it again next year, maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you for doing this. We'll talk soon, I am sure.
Yep. Yep. No problem. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, ma'am.
See ya.
All right.